Hey guys, we are going to be continuing our work with our social issues books today, and we're going to kind of look at how, yes, we've identified people as being a part of a group, but then how, people also have individual traits. So, the first thing we had you guys do was in here, we had you do a Google form, and it was just a pre-check. So we had you pick a group that you belonged in, a group that you chose, or a group that it just is who you are, and then characteristics that are typical to people in this group. So like things that if you are a member of this group, what are things that are typical to that group? What are things that normally occur to people who are in this group? And then something about you that is not typical, because we talked about the idea of like overgeneralizing things and making stereotypes and things like this. And how do you fight against that stereotype, essentially? So then we are going to really get into the work today. And yes, learning that we are a big part of a group has brought a lot of like insight and made us learn a lot about characters and how they react to certain things. And sometimes, though, when we're talking about it, we're like, ooh, is this uncomfortable? Is this okay to make these kind of statements? But we need to talk about the idea that not everything can be generalized. Like you can make a generalization that's, a general subgroup or make statements that can be generalized, but we need to remember that characters and human beings are complicated. So yes, you can identify somebody as a member of a group, and yes, they may have issues because they are a member of that group. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that that is the only way that they are. You need to make sure that you understand that people are complicated, characters are complicated, and we are going to be able to look at individuals as well. So we have group traits, but then individual traits and how they all form a human being. Okay. So we had this a couple weeks ago when we talked about like, okay, how do we treat people? So, do pay attention when someone's in trouble, show that you care, but don't react too quickly and don't react with violence. That was the tape, right? Listen to the person and try to be sure you hear what they're really saying. So don't put them in a group. Don't assume you know what's best for somebody when you don't necessarily know for sure what they're doing. And stand up for someone when others are not believing in them is something to do, but don't give in to peer pressure and go along with a crowd if they're being mean. Same thing. Like if you feel free to stand up for somebody, people are making generalizations that aren't kind, feel free to stand up and say, okay, you're saying this, but it's not true. Things like that. Okay. So today's goal is that when we're thinking about characters or people, we need to remember that the challenges that the characters face, because of the group they are in, they are still unique. Okay, we need to make sure that we are aware that yes, they have these group challenges, but we need to be able to merge their group challenges and their individual responses to help us learn how they respond to life lessons. Okay, so we're going to look a little bit at Francisco's story again. And we talked about one of his groups being he's in a group of immigrants and he's new to learning English, right? So thinking about the challenges that group faces, we're going to read these two paragraphs again. I preferred to hang around Arthur, one of the boys who knew a little Spanish. During recess, he and I played on the swings, and I pretended to be a Mexican movie star like Jorge Negrete or Pedro Infante, riding a horse and singing the corridos we often heard on the car radio. I sang them to Arthur as we swung back and forth, going as high as we could. But when I spoke to Arthur in Spanish and Miss Galopino heard me, she said, "No," with body and soul. Her head turned left and right 100 times in a second, and her index finger moved from side to side as fast as a windshield wiper on a rainy day. "English, English," she repeated. Arthur avoided me whenever she was around. So he's an individual, right? Yeah, he can't speak English. He struggles to understand the teacher, but what individual traits do we see for him? Okay, so something you can look at when we're talking about characters, you can say like many people or many immigrants might do what, but the character Francisco responds this way because. So many people may struggle communicating with others, but Francisco, or many immigrants may struggle communicating in English, but Francisco was able to find a friend that he connected with, right? So you have to think, yes, here's the group. Here's how they're going here's what's going to happen with that group. Here's the generalization of that group. But then individually, here's this character, here's this person. Okay. So we are going to make sure that as we continue to read our books and things like that, we are going to make sure that we focus on people and how, yes, group, focus on people and what we can learn about those people. So real quick, what we want you to do is add this to your chart. Okay. Study individuals' responses to group related issues and ask, what can I learn from this? So not only can we learn about individuals' responses to groups, so individuals are going to react to a group issue. Not only can we learn about that, we can also learn, okay, what life lesson? Remember, a life lesson is a theme. So we can learn about individuals, we can learn about groups, we can learn about life, right? So pause the video, add this to your notebooks. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we are going to have some partner work. If you're watching this from home, you're going to do this at home, and you're going to get out your notebooks and you're going to look at your social issue book. Okay. And what we want you to do is look at group issues and individual responses. So I'm going to zoom in here. And this is a book, Out of My Mind. And just a basic synopsis up at the top, I think, is a good idea. Kind of talk about maybe a little bit about what the group she's in, kind of give us a little bit about who she is. So it says Melody can't talk or walk, so everyone thinks she's dumb. And then the group is they all think that disabled people are dumb. Okay, so that is the issue in the book, right? So here's what people are doing to treat her unfairly. Mom is not knowing what she's trying to Mom is not knowing that she's trying to tell her something, so here's how she's responding. She keeps trying, but she can't talk, so she throws a fit. Okay, so continue on. Here's how other people are acting towards her. They left her behind for the competition. How's Melody responding? She came back and talked to them and didn't let it get to didn't let it get to her, right? Again, Mrs. Billups was teaching the disabled third grade kindergarten stuff the day after day. Here's how she responded. She couldn't handle it anymore, so she screamed. So we have, yes, here's groups. Here's how people are treating others because they are generalizing and they're putting everybody in these groups. Here's how individuals are responding. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a T-chart in your notes, and you're going to title it Group-Related Issues. Give us a little synopsis about who this character is. Okay, talk about real quick what group they're in. Here's what people are doing. So what they are doing, you're going to talk about how people are treating her because of the group she is in, how she is responding to how people are treating her. Okay. Try to get, if you can, 3, 4, just like this person did with Out of My Mind. Okay. And then when you are done, we are going to continue to read our social issue books. All right. All right. As always, let me know if you have any questions, and good luck. Thanks.